Welcome to AMIcast, podcast about Amiga computers. I'm your host, Krzysztof Radzikowski, but call me Krzysztof or Radzik.
Welcome to AMIcast, the number 14, and we have the episode about the Amiga NG, what can be done, and we will try to comment the current situation. So with my guest, I give the voice to my guest. So say hello and say who are you, and then we start.
Hi Amigans, I'm Manuel. I'm one of the business owner of Formosan Business Support Limited. I'm German, but I left Germany in 1999. And since when I lived in Asia, in Japan, China, People's Republic of China, South Korea, and finally decided to settle down in Taiwan. My computer background is my parents took me to Florida in the mid of 80s, I think 1987. And after visiting Cape Canaveral and everything, my dad decided to buy me a home computer. So my first computer was a Schneider CPC 464, but a Schneider CPC with a tape drive, so no floppy drive. But at that time, still amazing. And started my first programming in BASIC and Pascal. And then my dad decided to buy a video camera. And then we suddenly needed a powerful video editing machine. So that's how I got in contact with the Amiga in, I think, 1990 or 1991 with the Amiga 500 Plus and the Cyrus Genlock and the software package by ProDad. And with the time, the changes, my dad, we invested a lot of time into video editing, ray tracing, desktop publishing, and ended up at the end with the Amiga 4000 Tower PowerPC solution in Fowlet Motion. But when it happened what happened, and the hardware couldn't catch up with new developments like digital video, HD, and now 4K. So changed to Casablanca, and after Casablanca, changed to PC completely.
Sad.
Unfortunately, under Windows. Yeah, and because I moved to Asia, I also studied in Asia. I was forced to use PC and Linux, and I decided to return to Amiga, I think, after I got married. My wife asked me to live with her in Germany because she wanted to see the place where I grew up. My wife is Taiwanese. And the deepest connection I have with Germany still until today is still the Amiga and the Amiga community. Otherwise, I'm big. Yeah, it is, particularly in Germany. And I'm from Bremen, Germany, northern part, and I remember we had like own Amiga club and went to Hamburg for events, particularly Bad Barmstedt, and eventually to Holland, there were some events too. And I still feel very, reminded on the positive side of IT, because IT has become too commercial, I think. All the dreamers are gone, all the visionary people are gone, and there's not so much life like I can find in spirit, even today in the Amiga community. Like I subscribe the Amiga Future in German and English, also very good way because to teach German here in Taiwan and sometimes English, because some people here are interested in learning the language. So they say only if I take the Amiga Future where you can see me smiling and be happy teaching the language. And even my wife says it's amazing to see all these guys making up all these solutions just out of their fantasy and pure creativity with extreme low budget and mostly community power.
Yeah,
And,
nice words.
Yeah. But it's still life and spirit in the Amiga. That's all possible through the community and all the people who keep contributing to it. Sorry, my daily life, I sometimes speak English, but most of the time just Mandarin, Chinese, and Japanese. And I think that's something I also want to share with people here in Asia, because the first generation had to work too hard. We had no chance or time to enjoy fun in the things they do. So there's a whole new generation growing up, and I think the Amiga is the only way to, one of the best ways to create real fun, innovation, and creativity. Because on the Amiga, you always have to work on solutions. There's no complete solution for anything. You have to interact in forums with the community. You have to talk to developers personally. You even have to contribute sometimes in different ways, do translations, find someone who can maybe program the code. Or as we were discussing before, maybe help them somehow in the marketing, PR, communication. There's just so much you can do. And the Amiga has been without any leadership for too long time. That's why we have so many different solutions over the time, like Amiga Kit, Eros, MorphOS, AmigaOS, Classic, and OS4. Yeah, as I said, when I was in Germany, I decided to buy from Luigi Bordeaux, who is one of the X5000 beta testers in Italy, to buy his SEM 460X. Because at that time I tried to buy anywhere. Nobody had any next generation hardware. And I was so desperate. I waited 6 months. I did my research work, and I just wanted to buy NG Amiga. It was not possible to get X1000. And I tried to contact so many times Amiga Kit in the UK, and mostly they don't reply to emails when you call them. Sound very sleepy on the phone, and mostly completely disinterested. And so I had to buy secondhand from Luigi, and shipment costs were quite high from Italy to Germany. Lucky enough, I have been assigned from a company in Germany to Korea, and they paid the moving costs. So the moving company took care of the SAM 460 and the Commodore desktop. He sold it me in an original Commodore desktop.
Very nice.
So that's not. Yeah. But it's too big now. I actually want to give it away. Maybe someone who's willing to pay the shipment cost just for free. It's just takes too much space in my office.
Yeah, this is I think the one of the problems, in my opinion as well, that we don't have the laptop or something like this for AmigaOS 4. Yeah, because I was last year in business trip in US 3 months, and you cannot take desktop with you. Yeah, but laptop you can take.
Yeah, that's why I remember you did an interview with Epsilon.
Yeah.
And he said that he's a developer, so he knows how to set up correctly within UAE and get it running on VOE on a standard PC laptop. So he said that was quite handy because he had to do his presentations. And I remember Eon, they had a prototype of a laptop, but I had huge problems pushing the owner of the AmiOS, which is Hyperon Entertainment, to develop everything in time. And when they had problems with what's the name of the supplier, Verisis, to get everything done.
Yeah, this is the solution of emulation. I wrote the book about this now, so it is possible, and it's not so bad when you have the powerful processor, Intel processor. But it's not it's not the best solution. It can be a backup, or when you design some software, it can be somehow used. But to everyday use, is too weak. At the end of all, you cannot watch the movies or full access the web. So this is maybe in future if Hyperion will let's say unlock this RAM limit, so you can use more megabytes or gigabytes of operating system, could be the solution, and maybe this is our future somehow. But still, for now, like you said, I was thinking about buy new hardware NG, and I'm in the same position like you were before, so I cannot buy nothing now. The SAM is out, the Tabor is coming, nobody knows when, and the X5000 should be last year September, and we are almost in September now in 2016, and you have zero information. So the question is how I should plan my budget for this. Should I have this 2,000 or 3,000 euros now, or I can meanwhile buy something what I need, and you know what I mean. So zero information. And look, in my opinion, I'm big fan of AmigaOS 4 and NG Amiga, but I have no information, and nobody has any information. When you're reading the forums, the Amiga.org word, the guy are asking what is happening, and zero official information. You can only think what can be done, what is done, and why we have so big delay.
Well, I just came back from a business trip to Europe, and I had the chance to talk to Timothy de Grote. Do you know who he is?
No.
Hyperion Entertainment BV is a private limited Belgian company having 3 shareholders.
I know.
He's one of them. I think he posted his direct contact to buy the Amiga OS 4.1 FE final edition as a direct download, so we can email him directly now. He posted on the website, and as I said, we have 3 owners. We're also the developers, and Hyperion had to be a company in order to get the copyright from Amiga Inc. So we spent almost a decade on lawyers, on paper war, on courts just to get the copyright from Amiga Inc. To take over Amiga OS 3.1 and keep developing it. And we already started with the developing even before we got copyright. So he said the resources were already eaten up just with all the suit cases and the courts and lawyer costs, and finally it's over. So now we try to do the best to develop everything as fast as possible, but he says we're lacking a little bit of financial resources because everybody of the 3 owners has to work full time. We also have families, including him, and it's also kind of, how to say, be polite, be modest, not to ask the community for money, because I gave him few advices is take one more owner into the board, one more shareholder who has the financial capabilities, but he says it's full, no more people in. Okay, that's fine, I said to him. Another thing would be to start some fundraising.
The Kickstarter,
something like Kickstarter. There are many opportunities, and Pascal Papao told me that he started a lot of fundraising in some of these organizations or websites, even let you keep what you reach, even you didn't reach your goal, but what you got, you would just keep it. So I said to him it would be a good opportunity, and he said it would give the wrong signal to the community. I said to him, everybody knows about the situation. The community is not that big that nobody knows what's happening. And I said to him, I personally would love to see all these 3 people working full-time just on the Amiga. 24 hours.
This is true.
Yeah, so I asked him if I could donate money. But the problem is just, by donating money, you're not actually helping him. So the only thing I can offer him, because my main job is to support business. My company, what we do is helping someone to build up their business. Mostly Western companies or international companies investing into Taiwan, or Taiwanese companies going abroad. Like during my business trip, I visited some Taiwanese companies who are our clients, and they have a lot of problems, particularly in Germany. So they already started to move from Germany mostly to Holland or even Poland.
Okay.
Because conditions are much better there for foreign investors. And yeah, it's surprising.
I'm surprised because everybody are talking that Germany is the, let's say, paradise for the business investor and the innovation. Yeah?
No, actually, it's the nightmare, at least for Taiwanese investors or many Asian investors. Big problem is first the language. All papers are in German. There are a lot of frauds in Germany. Nobody is helping you to protect you. I have a lot of clients who lost so much money and time on so-called consultants who simply took their money and took off. I met one of these consultants and lost over 3,000 euro, and he didn't do a thing. Well, I think he went once to Holland and disappeared. Never heard from him again. Because we know German law works, but it takes a lot of time. The German government doesn't spend much. It's complicated, and the justice system works very slow.
And I think the language is as well a problem, because when you go to Holland, everybody are speaking English. Yeah, when you go to Poland, mostly everybody are speaking English. And I live in Germany. I speak German now, but I know this business partnership when even comes US company I will not say, to one of the most important players in automotive. This is very hard to find anybody that can speak English or have no afraid of doing this. Yeah.
It's one big problem. Another big problem is you have just too much paperwork. Like, for example, one big company from Taiwan in Hamburg was Transcend. Transcend is one of the biggest memory makers, making SD cards, making memories, USB sticks. They were one of the biggest players, and they invested a lot into Hamburg. When the city government asked them to do more investment, they say, if I go to Holland now, to Rotterdam, just move everything there. First, they give me free lawyer, they give me free tax man, they give me accountant for free and nice office space right in the city. In Hamburg, just have to pay money. The employees, not very loyal, they change the job easily. It's communication between an Asian manager and a German employee is catastrophic. Because the employee has more rights than the employer. So you have to be very careful what you even just say.
This is true. And for my experience, I must say, for example, Holland, I don't know, in Poland is really different. This is the more business. This is business between employer and employee. So it's more, maybe not equal, but yeah. You have more rights at the end of all.
Yeah, and plus the Eastern European market is still growing a little bit, even a little bit more than Western European market. I met one client who's supplying car spare parts in Eastern Europe. He's using Poland as his main hub for investment. And he says employees will work hard. Everybody wants to work hard. We're happy about having a job, not to leave Poland. And very good service, working hard and very loyal and nothing to complain. And plus a lot of Polish people who just returned from the UK, speak fluent English, not complaining about taking business trips for exhibitions or even going abroad.
So,
So,
but maybe we go back to Amiga because it's very nice. But this is, at the end of all, this is the background of Europe's situation. So somehow it's connected with Amiga because the Amiga is the biggest in Europe, and Germany, like we say, Germany, UK, and the Poland. This is the biggest community in the world of Amiga, I think. So you talk with the one of guy of the Hyperion. So can you say if you have some information which plan they have? Because as I said before, there is no information from them, and or what I can do to support them, because for example I would like to have the interview with them, but like you said with AmiKit you can send emails, call them, and no response.
Because it's a very complicated structure. There's no rooftop organization of the Amiga now. So like Trevor Dickinson, he's really like us, die-hard Amiga fan, and his main business is not Amiga. Even he puts so much time, money, and anything he has into the Amiga. But I have been told his main business in New Zealand is much more related to oil business. So financially he's well off, but the problem is Ion is in the middle of everything. So he tries his best to stimulate the Amiga market, making the Ami store, getting developers on board, hiring them, and he also sponsored all the Amiga 30 events. And so he tries his best, and he already got the Cyrus boards and the Tableau boards and everything he needs from the hardware side. And there were some developers already who have the kernels for Linux. That's very important because Linux is very important in the industry now. One more important thing everybody should know is Verisys, who's the main supplier of the Cyrus boards, is one of Britain's main supplier for arms in aerospace and anything related to high tech and military and space and aerospace. So the quality of the hardware is top. And he already has the boards. And he already sent out, I think, 100 boards to developers. So all he needs now is to get from Hyperion the ROM image. So Hyperion, Timothy told me the problem is he doesn't have the time and the money to finish it, so he should outsource it to somebody. So I asked him, what's the problem? He says to hire someone who has to do the last step of coding costs him 500 euros a week. So he says to get everything quickly done in time, let's say in 1-2 months, to hire enough people he said it hires 120,000 euro. So
at the end of all, it's not so much. It's a lot of money for a normal guy, but for companies shouldn't be so dramatic.
So I was thinking about maybe I find him an investor, but again there's this pride going on, and be humble and modest, not to take money. So I feel like he has the last few meters in his 100 meter run. And suddenly on 95 meters, out of pride, he doesn't want to take money. He wants to do it by himself because all the people at Hyperion, they feel they taking important responsibility in IT history by taking care of the AmigaOS. It's good in a way because he's not asking for money, just disappearing. But on the other hand, I want to see some results. So it's 100,000 euro it's not really not much money.
Yeah, but because I have you more or less you have right, because in my opinion it's better to finish this port of AmigaOS 4 on the X5000 or table whatever now, because it looks like this is maybe the last year or something like this, the last time for NG community to survive, because a lot of guys, I talk with a lot of guys, they are going away from NG because nothing is happening now here, and when you bring the X5000 in next year or something like this, it will be already outdated. You know what I mean, yeah? It will be like 1200 1 year too much in this situation, yeah, or too long. So I'm afraid of this because it's too long, yeah.
Yeah. So sometimes I feel like I just should win the lottery or get just one big project to make enough money to just take over everybody. And taking over Eon, taking over AmigaKit, taking over all the famous developers in Hyperion, and just put everybody under one roof organization and controlling everything from one chair. Yeah. But on the other hand, yeah, that would be easiest, but still, when you would lose the connection with the community, and I think the community is very, very important to interact with them. Yeah.
This is the Amiga is community, and the other, I can ask you, I think, what do you think about these divisions? Because our community is divided in, let's say, 4 ways. This means official AmigaOS. The MorphOS is like AmigaOS system, AROS, and of course Classic, the most popular. And I think the Classic now is with the FPGA projects has the new power, or should have a new power. But it is possible to join everybody together to produce the one stuff, yeah?
I think not anymore. I think for AmigaOS 4, I think it's still possible, and MorphOS somehow feels very close to AmigaOS 4. Well, I don't think we're not fighting each other because we have too much history in common. Intel outside, the PowerPC platform, the user friendliness, the GUI of both operating systems. So I don't think it's a problem. I think AROS with the time under Pascal Papara will develop a way because he's putting all his horses on Raspberry Pi and keeps developing for the platform, which makes absolutely sense. I listened to all his podcasts, and his speeches were online on YouTube and on the Amiga events. I think he's taking his own way now.
I think he has some right, because Raspberry Pi is probably good platform from growing operating system or for alternative, yeah?
It is, yeah. And he's now developing these consoles. I think we're going to find the niche market, particularly in developing countries. He, of course, hopes to sell them well in Germany, but I think it will be very hard, even with the retro scene we have going on, because everybody thinks it's more comfortable to emulate all the old computers on your own PC, laptop, or desktop computer. It's much more comfortable instead of buying a console. But I think maybe India, maybe Turkey, or even Africa, there might be quite good markets for this console.
Interesting. So, do you think, for example, let's talk about the market for AmigaOS 4. if there is any, because in Europe, for sure, when I say to guys not connected with Amiga, I'm making a podcast about Amiga, so everybody are looking at me like I'm ill or something, a disabled guy. So there is chance for Amiga to be 1% of the market or something like this, a little bit grow. And if not Europe, this means maybe, like you said, Africa or something.
Well, I still think there are chances. I'm saying that because I didn't get into the Amiga from the gaming scene. I got into the Amiga from video desktop publishing and desktop publishing itself. So I'm much more of a user than a gamer. And I still think the Amiga experience is one of the best, but you have to give the Amiga its own niche market. So I came up with one business idea. I'm here in Taiwan, the AHK, or here they call themselves German Trade Office, to make it easier for non-German speakers. And they were giving workshops and seminars since 2 years ago. And all they keep talking about is Industry 4.0. And the former government here in Taiwan or even Japan, they were laughing at it and said, it's just a pure idea. There's nothing concrete behind it. But now the new government here, at least in Taiwan, they came up with the concept of Innovation 4.0. So that's actually the same. In some companies, we try to implement it. And one interesting aspect when I was at these seminars and workshops, everybody from the industrial part was asking, the German government is asking the industries in Asia to be the supplier and connect the factories to the internet. Everybody says that's insane. How you can be sure that, for example, North Korea will not get into your factory and simply take it over or steal all your plans and concepts and designs, or same for China. China's most famous for industrial espionage. So everybody is highly scared about it. And Edward Snowden came out with all the secrets what the NSA is spying on, and many governments are spying on. They're all using the platforms we're using today: Google, Android, iOS, Mac OS X, and Windows. And we have to, by law, we have to obey US law. And the United States, or even the United Kingdom, the MI6 said it's quite natural to do industrial espionage because it benefits your nation. So everybody in Asia says, you're insane. I'm never ever gonna put internet-able computer into my factory and get my orders from Germany on my Mac or my Windows PC. It's never gonna happen. So everybody says alternate would be Linux, but one big problem is North Korea and China are just using Linux. And believe me, their cyber divisions are the best on Linux. They can hack it best in the world. So I was thinking when I listened to all of this, the only system North Korea and China are not familiar with, actually the United States too, is AmigaOS.
True.
So you just, So I keep asking around at Amiga Inc. and Hyperion if I could get the license to develop, let's say, AmigaOS for business edition or industrial edition. So if I supply to the factories, it would create a huge demand and huge market for hardware developers and software developers. And I'm taking inspiration from QNX on BlackBerry. They already, on the mobile divisions, they separated the system on BlackBerry OS X. So you have one version of your mobile phone as a private user, and then you can switch to enterprise one, and both is perfectly coded. It's very hard to break in, particularly into the enterprise version. And to develop such a thing for the Amiga. So I kept asking around directly, sending emails to all the Amiga developers. They say would be possible, but the problem is if I do this, what will happen if Hyperion will sue me or Amiga Inc. will sue me? So licensing, that's the main issue, and how to protect the developers.
Okay, but theoretically, Amiga Inc. I think is not important theoretically now, because you can talk directly if you can reach them with Hyperion to build the AmigaOS for one enterprise, for example, or they can give the license for this, and if they want. The question is if they want,
Yeah, because the more units, for example, I would sell, if I'm the owner of this version, I would have to develop it, to distribute it and sell it. And they like Sony gets money for selling every single CD or DVD or Blu-ray, they get a license fee. I think 5%, something like this, for every single disc sold. So it would be a huge income source for Hyperion when they would have a budget to keep developing AmigaOS for the consumer sector.
Okay, but they don't want to take the money. So, like we talked before.
They are hard to say. When I talk to them, I have a feeling they're also tired. They're really tired. They have to work full-time on their jobs. They have the families. And like Timothy, when I talk to him, I feel sometimes sorry for him because he really works a lot. He works, I think, in a recycling farm, something like this. And it's very exhausting job. Of course, he's not picking up the garbage, but he has to work in the factory, do the IT for the factory, how to run it. And it's, I think, 6 a.m. to 5 p.m. job.
This is a lot of hours. So, but for this you need, for example, the Hyperion must have to. You need more developers at the end of all. Hyperion need more developers, and for your business you need developers as well. So, from which place you can get these developers? Because I think the guys must be familiar with the AmigaOS somehow.
Yes, it's easy. Here in Taiwan, I have a partner a guy from Hanover who has developed a web-based system already on Industrial 4.0. It's not complete yet, but he could deliver the master plan. And he says the problem, he agrees with me, the problem is the platform you're using, the operating system. They are not safe. So from that side, that's okay. And when we have several developers, particularly in Germany, when I read AmigaOS Welt.de or AmigaOS 4 Welt.de or like A1K forum.
Yeah.
There are plenty of developers. So the problem is just to pay them full time, and but we'll say it's possible. You've talked to Mr. Michael Neitzel, who developed Amiga Racer.
Yeah.
And he said, of course, technically that's no problem. I can develop this. It would go faster if I would hire a team of developers. So to get the developers, I don't think that's a problem. Just to get the license, that's a huge problem. And
this is
This
is the biggest. So, but the good question is maybe before the license, but for me, for AmigaOS now, the big problem is no more memory protection, no multi-core support. So I don't know if without these technologies you can go to the enterprise market, because you need at least memory protection, And memory protection this means I'm not developer, but I think this means break compatibility with the old software that we don't need
Yes.
in the wall. Huh?
Yeah, exactly. But it's technically no problem. And to make the system highly secure is no problem too. I think from the technical side. So we have the human resources, we have the people with the know-how. I don't see any big problem. And I think the Amiga community is also going to support it if it can make the market broader. And I think when I sell the, let's say, enterprise version, also will include the part for the consumer part. In this way, I will try to imitate BlackBerry's QNX operating system. But during work time, just work, on their factory and get the orders and deliver and connect everything to the supply management. And because Asia very common also to watch movies, surfing, and do all the things we all like to do.
Yep.
So maybe we can separate it, share the resources between both applications. And then it's technically possible, I think, no problem.
Okay, but other question about the hardware, because the PowerPC is very expensive. So when you want to hit the professional market, this means the hardware must be not so expensive, yeah. And the PowerPCs, I think everybody are talking now that PowerPC is dead. What do you think about this? Yeah.
I think what we mean with that is the consumer market, because if you look very close on the PowerPC architecture and the market for it, we're still very strong in various hardware solutions, mostly for space, aerospace, military. That's why Eon choose viruses. I heard also in the car industry, we're also using still 68K CPUs in PowerPC because the architecture is highly reliable, I heard. So, and I think if you sell it to factories, we don't care so much about the high price of the PowerPC. But all they want is to be upgraded and connected to the future industry, because the factories here in Asia just care about one thing, sales numbers. So if they can sell, they don't care if they spend, $1 million on a machine which is making fasteners or steel, or spend maybe, $10,000 on an Amiga who keeps connecting all the factory machine to their customers. So long as they see profit in that. They say, okay, I just pay it, and the bank is going to give me the loan, just have to explain why. That's all.
Yeah, makes sense, because everything is produced in Asia at the end of all. So for them, they have the money, because I see the Chinese guys want to invest a lot of money in Europe. So like they did with Volvo, yeah. And now Volvo cars they are in very good condition. And before they were almost dying, and the guys from China come and put the money, no problem.
And China has a huge technological gap, where you think they simply can buy it up with cash. But buying the hardware doesn't mean you have the software. So the Chinese keep buying, and then they keep wondering why I moved this factory one-to-one. They even put the bookshelf and the desk one-to-one. They took the pictures in Germany and rebuilt it in China. And they say, it looks one-to-one like in Germany, but it doesn't work like in Germany. I don't know why. And they have funny business. There was one guy, and I saw on German TV, who bought an airport somewhere in Mecklenburg-Vorpommern, old Soviet airport. Nobody is interested in this airport. The Russians are happy that they sold it to them. And also the local government in Germany, they tried to rebuild Dubai. They simply wanted to duplicate Dubai in Germany. It doesn't work in Germany. Why having a second Dubai when there is already an original one? But that's the Chinese mindset. They're called Fuadai, the second rich generation. They have too much money, member of a communist party, and the party has a lot of money and rich people who don't know how to spend the money.
So they are keep trying and maybe they have the luck, something like this.
Yeah, we say we have to think big, but here in Asia we have no friends. Here in Asia, actually most nations dislike China and they keep upgrading arms against China, asking the US to build something like NATO here. Mm-hmm. Particularly India is very scared of China because Chinese submarines keep invading the sea waters in the Indian Ocean. There was only, I think recently 2 years ago, was a Chinese submarine submerging in an Indian port and showing off their missiles, that they're able to attack any Indian city with their submarines. And the Indians themselves, they don't have nuclear armed submarines. So we are very scared of a first strike by China. Same like Southeast Asia. They expanded the Chinese border by building up artificial islands in the South China Sea. So the borderline is now at Indonesia's beach now. They expanded the borderline so far because the international law says 200 sea miles from your land, from your mainland. But China says nobody said anything about artificial islands. So I just built some artificial land when I have 200 sea miles extra land. And also with Japan, we have a lot of conflicts. We're trying now to control the drinking water, the rivers, the stream of them, to cut off India, Tibet, and even Outer Mongolia from water supply, to simply dry them out. So China has no more friends in Asia, and I think starting from yesterday, very close friends in the UK, because UK is the only one in the world who's willing to sell them nuclear arms and power secrets with the power plant in Essex. So I think that will be huge lunch for China to eat up the British economy.
Okay, but now we are more in political way. So let's go.
Sorry.
No, this is very
because
interesting.
Of my job.
Yeah,
because of my job, I'm deeply involved with it. So
this is at the end of all, this is very interesting. This is the something new from the Amiga guys. They are old. They should enjoy this as well. They are not so young. So how we can do it or something, because you try to contact the Hyperion and this is not so easy. So do you think with your plans or something like this, can the community put the pressure on the Hyperion or the Aeon or the guys that have the rights in hand or something to push the development? Because without pushing the development, you cannot start your project, or the community cannot enjoy the new hardware.
I think all cards on Hyperion. I think the next step just would be, I would like to introduce you to Timothy. He's also on Skype and you can talk to him freely. Quite decent guy, nice guy. And I don't think Trevor Dickinson is any problem, or Eon. But maybe convince him a little bit more, not just to focus on his blog. I think you're right, there must be more PR done. And I'm thinking about how to convince him to at least outsource more news and PR to me. Maybe I can help him to get further with the marketing, because I think you're right. That's communication with the community is not their strength. They're too deep into IT and about technical stuff. Even when I talk to them, it's all about codecs. It's about too much IT stuff. Nobody is really interested from the consumer side.
Yeah, because I think the PR section is very important, and Hyperion or Aeon or whatever, somebody who should do it, and to do a social network. This is also important. So the progress of development or or the news should be spread everywhere you can do it, and with community, of course, because for example, for me, I will be much more happy when I have the updates every 1 month or something like this. What is done, what will be done, what is not done, what cannot be done. For example, the Vampire, the FPGA project, what I mean.
Yeah.
And you have the IRS channel. So and you have the forum, and it's always something new there. The updates from the developers. So it's I bought the hardware and I know what will happen next. And here I bought the hardware and I bought for example, the latest AmigaOS, and from 2000 or from 2 years, I have no information. Amazing.
It is, yeah. Well, I always try to contact directly the person in charge, and it's the only information source I have. So, I know what you mean. And we try to keep everything in secret now because they made too many announcements in the past. They say they couldn't realize the project. So they're very scared to say too much now. So we think saying nothing is better than saying something wrong. And I think that's wrong mentality.
Yeah. Because when you, for example, see the LibreOffice project, they was announced 3 years ago or something, or 4. And last month we saw the screenshot. But after so many years, you should get more or give me the information. It's not possible. I can survive this, and to say nothing, or like I was always talking about the Odyssey, the web browser, because I cannot use the AmigaOS for one daily because I cannot use the web. Of course somehow I can, but the web is growing. And the technology of web is growing as well. And the Odyssey is 2-3 years old. Of course, now is thanks to the dead one. Even for AmigaOS, there are some updates. But this is not like should be done. And nobody wants to make the new Odyssey. And when you were talking about the developers, there are plenty of them. But when I see this, maybe there are plenty of them, but nobody wants to do nothing or something. Looks like this for me, for end user.
I talked to Thomas Frieden, who started developing a Firefox version for the Amiga.
And Timberwolf.
The two twins, the Frieden's brothers. They told me we'll work 1.5 years on it, and they said after 1.5 years we realize everything they have done is already past. So they say the speed of the developing of a web browser is just too fast, and it's not enough to do it as a hobby developer. You have to do it full time.
But without a web browser, your idea is not possible. For example, so we should you must have the web browser, and I don't know how it should be with Mozilla Foundation, some connection or something, but I know that this is the web browser is heavy program, and heavy programming, but how you can manage this the new operating system without modern web browser,
so I asked them if we want a certain amount of money, maybe I can put on a fundraising platform like Kickstarter to develop a browser for the Amiga. And they said they're already too busy working LibreOffice. They're making now LibreOffice for the Amiga. And I think would be best, maybe I should ask more around in the community. If there would be a team, maybe in Entwickler X, and they send me a certain amount they want to get, so I can start some fundraising. Because we have the source code. With Freedom Brothers, they say if someone else wants to develop it, no problem. We can get the source code. So 4/3 of the work is already done. Just need to do 1/4. Yeah.
Yes and no, because the source code is based on very old Timberwolf or Firefox. And for example, I'm afraid of this LibreOffice because what happened? We get let's hope we get the LibreOffice from 2010 or something, or old like Blender now for AmigaOS. It's now it's updated, but the version is 2008. It's make no sense. At the end of all, we should have the latest version, and when we will do it in so slow progress, we will be always outdated. So
that's why Trevor, I think with Ion and what's the name, the Amiga shop online.
Amiga Kit, Amiga's.
He has this online shop. So he tries to distribute the software directly to the end customer.
Ami Store, yeah?
Yeah, Ami Store. So he really keeps hiring developers and programmers for distributing new software to NG Amigas. And he pays them on hourly base. So I think that's a big problem because we're paid on all hourly base, and there's no time limit, there's no deadline. So they think, okay, when I have time, maybe 1 hour on the weekend, 2 hours on the weekend, or if a very bored life, maybe 1-2 hours in the evening, we work on it. And I think that's a big problem. So I sometimes thinking about having a foundation for the Amiga, developers foundations. So the people, what they want, they can post what they want, and the developers can ask what they want for developing this. And I don't know, exchange something else for it, not just money. But in Berlin, I heard there's a project like you're offering some service, like I do accounting for you, and you come to my place and do laundry for me.
Okay, I know. I heard this.
Yeah, or maybe just use money or something else. I don't know. I think, but it goes more like open source. But you're right. There should be something like rooftop organization just taking care of all the developments and what should happen. Because right now, this, as you said, everything's outdated. Everybody's just doing it in their free time, and it's such a pity because Amiga can do so much more. It has done in the past and should be even better on NG Amigas today. It's yeah, I know what you mean. Makes me upset too.
Exactly, because at the end of all, there's more fun on classic Amiga than on NG, sadly, because before 5 years ago was different. In my opinion, I was very excited. I had the new Blender almost the same date. The Timberwolf was there, so there was chance for the best browser for Amiga. There was Odyssey, and there was the Progress. And now, when I see this, the Timberwolf, the Blender, the Odyssey, they are still 5 years old, and in this, another question is how you can convince the guys from the classic community, from classic Amiga, to go to the NG, because it looks like nobody is interested in NG Amiga. The quantity of NG Amigas, it's, I don't know, 2,000 in the world, and the classic is 10 times more or something. Everybody wants to have the classic, yeah? And NG is not selling. And you cannot buy it.
Because, as you said, it's lacking of marketing, of PR. It's Ami Store came a little bit late. And for the classic Amigas, we had always the Aminet CD-ROMs. So there was always plenty source of software in Aminet. We have always 4 depot, but It's all too much, how to say, inside Amiga. It's just really for very niche community, for a few experts. So
Yep.
There should be podcasts, there should be videos, there should be everything. I still couldn't find one video explaining to you what you can do when you have an NG Amiga on YouTube.
There is no,
for example,
something like this.
No, nobody. Any other consumer products you buy, there are always people unboxing it and showing it what you can do right away when you pack it out and start it. And doesn't matter if tablet or smartphone or computer. So even for Linux, there's so many people explaining to you the distributions, the differences, and what you can do with them, comparing it with the commercial versions of macOS X and Windows.
And I can say how I'll see this, because I saw this, or I see this in the Apple community, yeah? So, or in the IT world, normal community. So the bloggers, podcasters like Epsilon, yeah? They have maybe not official, but they have the support from the company, from, in our situation, Aeon, Amiga Kit, Hyperion. So the few main bloggers or something like this, so few main big guys, they should have the support from the company, and then they can make the official videos of something, how to use the AmigaOS, what you can do it. And for example, I could have the weekly, maybe weekly too much, but let's say 1 or 3 times in a year, the guests like the Hyperion, Aeon, to summarize the work, you know what I mean? And then this is the PR, yeah? And I'm happy because I support them. I'm not developer. I cannot support the guys other way, but I support them. They supporting me, and PR supporting the community, yeah? It is like this in the normal world, yeah? The Apple support the community through the bloggers, podcaster, YouTubers. And this is, I think, in these days, only one way to do it, like this: YouTube, Facebook, and blogs.
Yes, you do. Yeah, it's how it's supposed to be. And maybe can talk to Trevor directly about this.
Try, but it's not so easy. It's for me. It's very hard to get the answers from the guys. I wrote the emails about beta testing. Now I wrote the email that I could be a beta tester for new hardware and AmigaOS, because I wrote the book about emulation AmigaOS 4.1 in PC, yeah, or something. So now I could give the support when I write the book about the AmigaOS 4.1 for the new hardware, like Tabor, for X5000, for example. But I think the X5000 is not so good target, because it's too expensive. For sure, some guys will buy it. But for example, if Tabor will be not so expensive, let's say the 500, 1,000 euros, it will be nice to have the introduction book for this. You know what I mean, yeah? Because this cash, more or less, everybody can buy it. But when you must spend 3,000 euros, you must really be convinced about this. Why you spending 3,000? Yeah,
certainly.
So we will see. I hope our episode, because it's maybe not so interview, but this is our complaints and the suggestion can change something. And I don't know if Hyperion on Aeon are listening AMIcast. I have no information, but let's hope that somebody will take this.
Sure. Well, I will try to keep connecting you to all the people involved, and let's see how we'll develop, because at the end, the Amiga is us, it's the community.
Yep, this is true. We can try support and work together. And at the end of all, in my opinion, the old wars between this mainly AmigaOS and MorphOS, I think it's done. And
So too, yeah.
it will be nice when we can reunite or something, or at least work together in some main components. Yeah, like for example this Odyssey or I don't know, Blender port, or some games, or the security stuff that you need, for example, for this enterprise version. So we'll see.
Yeah, let's hope for the best. I'm still optimistic, because at the end I don't want to give up the IT world to the few systems we have right now, to Windows, to Mac OS, because there's not the life, the spirit, the dynamic. I have the experience in Amiga. It's not the same. It's of course more advanced. We have much more cash to develop this, and everything is big and bombastic. But there's this special feeling, this emotion connected to try out something completely new, or find a way how to solve a problem, because there is no complete solution. As you said, we try to do podcasts on the NG Amiga and it's not possible. So we always keep trying, and we just learn and keep learning, while the others, we just consume. We get everything ready in a package and just pick it up, while we have the learning curve all the time.
And do you think, because I think you think like this, there is a place for new operating system or old operating for AmigaOS in this way, because the market is really divided between Windows and macOS and Linux, and there is a place for another player. And
yes,
okay, this is good. The good easy answer. And the question is, can we use this retro trend that is now very popular in Europe to promote the NG stuff somehow?
I think only in combination with the fear Edward Snowden has spread. So not just retro, but also keep looking into the future, giving the people back the freedom in the IT world Edward Snowden tried to give us and explain to us. Retro is not enough, because retro just for the youngsters to learn what their parents did when they were youngsters. So it's like looking into museum. Do you know what I mean? You have to give the Amiga a new spirit. Before was just like having fun, having the experience, just to have a nice desktop computer for home users. To me personally, what I connect with the Amiga was like all the videos I had in my childhood were cut and edited and made on the Amiga. So my connection to the Amiga is always like it's how I archive my own life, places I visited and things like this. So in the Amiga needs because many computers can do this now. So I think another purpose also would be like Edward Snowden. He tried to shaken up this world to let us know how dangerous big data is to us, because we think our daily lives using Google is fine, using this service for free is fine, but actually it costs everything. Even we don't pay in currencies, but we pay with big data. And Amiga is not collecting my data. And even Pascal Papara said, if you use AmiCloud, I'm not collecting your data. You're free. I give you back your freedom in the cloud. And I think that's the new spirit of when you keep moving forward with the Amiga. It's not to look back, but to learn from the past to build a better future. And I think the future is to give the people back their freedom in the digital world. That should be the spirit of the Amiga in the future.
Mm-hmm. And in this, do you have an idea how to attract the young guys? Because when I see, for example, the keynote from Apple the last time, there's a lot of young developers, a lot of very young people. And when I was in our anniversary last year of Amiga 30 birthdays, there's a lot of old guys. So with old guys, this is like me. You don't have a lot of time because you must take care about a lot of things. Yeah, when you have the kids, you must take care about the kids. When you have the dog, you must take care about the dog. You must go to the work. You must meet the friends. So when you are young, you have a lot of much more time to do. Like we were young with Amiga, you have always Amiga time. So how to get the young developers here? Do you think this system can be attractive for them?
Yes, but you have to give him spiritual leadership besides the technical platform. For example, Apple, when they started, they always said, we are the underdog. So Apple, with Steve Jobs was quite smart guy. So he used images of Einstein, of Newton, and said, I'm going to give the designers, the innovators, the people with the fantasy, a platform where we can perform. I'm the underdog who's fighting the bigs. And nobody knew at this time, but the big one would be Google, because at that time, Microsoft was the biggest one. No, Microsoft keeps shrinking, and Apple keeps shrinking, and Google keeps growing. And so you see, you give the people something we can hope on and build on. And I think it's very important to give it to them, including the developer. So,
for sure.
And the problem is how to build the future.
Okay, and maybe the last point it will be, because the in community still some guys are talking, and even I have some pictures from other guy that for example he prepared, based on Linux, the Amiga-like operating system. This is on the Amiga podcast Facebook page, how it looks like. And the question is to you, or what do you think about this? If this is better to start from scratch, to, for example, jump to the Linux core, or change the architecture for Intel, for example, or we should keep to try with PowerPC and current AmigaOS and develop it.
Well, from a personal point of view, I would prefer to stick to the old and not change the CPU platform. Of course, Timothy told me it would be possible to rewrite the Amiga to Intel or even ARM CPU. He says it's technically possible. Just need the resources and the manpower to do it. That's all. And I asked him if you would do it, if you could keep the spirit of the Amiga, and he says it would be similar to Apple. He says Apple actually is not using Mac OS anymore. They're just using a Linux version, which makes people believe it's
FreeBSD,
Yeah, exactly. So he says on the surface, yes, on the inside, might lose a lot. That's what I'm afraid of. How could this be done, and what will you lose in the process? Because if I want to get Linux, I just can get it right away, particularly on Intel CPU. So I think we particularly as Amigans, we have an identity, and I don't want to give up too much on my identity, on my digital footprint. So it's some people say it's like the Roman Empire. It's better to die as a Roman than to die as anything else.
Could be like this. It looks like we are going in this direction.
Yeah, but I hope, I don't know, maybe turn things around this year or next year. And that's why I say I keep encouraging everybody to go more on the B2B level, because you need some money source. The consumers, I feel like, particularly in Europe, are drying out of money. It's hard to say. Well, I always keep saying I'm willing to spend this money because I'm not spending money on anything else.
Mm.
I don't like traveling. I always have my business trips, and I actually don't like them. To me, it's very exhausting, particularly traveling to Europe. It's long flight, and there's not the spirit and the motivation like here in Asia. In Asia, I feel like everything's dynamic, and I still have the strong feeling the Amiga experience would be a good experience for the people here, particularly for the young generation. Also saw at the AmigaOS where more Asian people joining these events, because we know the Amiga from the IT history. Because you know, Asian people study hard, work hard. We know everything. They're so curious because they say everybody related to the Amiga has a smile on the face, and there's this community. When you see an Amigan, we don't care about nationalities. I don't care that you're Polish nationality. You don't care that I'm German nationality. I don't care that Trevor is from New Zealand, that Timothy is from Belgium, and Dan Wood is from the UK, because we're all Amigans, and it keeps us united globally. Above nations, above races, above locations. And I think that's something unique we have developed. Many people want to join this community because of the strong identity we have, not based on certain income level, position, race, or nationality.
Yeah, this is nice what you said. But this is true.
It's true.
Because the power of Amiga at the end of all now is community. It's small, but it's kicking, yeah, and it should be used in good way. So that's why, yeah. But at the end of all, we should we need a change in this year. I hope, for example, I'm thinking what happened if the X5000 will not come in this year, yeah? Because this is I think before I was not thinking like this, but now I think it could be like this. They will not manage it to bring it on the market in this year, and this is problem.
So I asked Timothy, how much money would it be just to finish AmigaOS 4.2 in the last run on the X5000? He said, maybe 4,000 to 6,000 euros, that's it. I said, that's all? Just go to the bank, take a loan on your house, on your car. So it's not much money. If every Amigan just would donate maybe €5, that would be enough.
Yeah,
so
but this is
have more fun.
For 1, not 2.
No, 4.2.
4.2. Wow.
Because he has to. Actually, he says it's technically not too complicated. He says the only problem he has is because he has to work full time to pay the developers. He has to outsource. So he says it's about 1 week, €500, because we have so many freelancers out there in the world. So the developer can be anywhere in the world. He just gives them one certain part. So he does the code editing, he does all the IT stuff, and he pays them with €500. Can be in India, can be in Sri Lanka, can be in South Africa. He doesn't care. He makes a post on the internet. Someone will say, okay, I take this money, and pays it, and after 1 week he gets the work done.
But this
and he
is,
just needs to recompile it for the AmigaOS.
But this is really easy. 500 for 1 week of work for developer is nothing. So
he says 500 a week.
Yeah, so this money you can, like you said, you can...
Yes, so step down from your pride and get away from the mentality, I'm the boss, I have to take care of everything, I'm in charge of everything. I try to talk to him. You have to understand, Amiga is not a product anymore. It's not something you put in the shelf and you just sell it. It's not like that anymore. It's community product, and there are still people who believe into the concept, the experience, and the idea of the Amiga. Yeah. So I said to him, go back to the community.
Exactly, do it for community. It's like this because I think because he should understand that without community, the Hyperion is nothing. Yeah, because they cannot sell the product. If we wait 1 year longer or something like this, it could be possible that there will be no community, NG community. Everybody said, whatever, I go away. And then it will be too late, yeah?
Exactly. So better take your chances now better than later.
Okay. Good. I think it is enough about this topic. We will see what happened. From my side, I think it's everything. And from your side, you want to say something more? Add something?
Well, I just want to keep on this spirit on the Amiga community, not to give up now. We have gone so far through so many things. Many tried to kiss goodbye the Amiga, but at the end, we all came back. We found our first loved ones, our wives, our children, our dream job. So we have all this. But without the Amiga, we still have something missing in our soul, in our hearts. So stick to it. I think giving up on the Amiga, you will lose more than you can gain from it. Amiga is not just a few, whatever currency you use, British pounds or euros or dollars you spend on something. It's something which gives you a lot back in return in a spiritual way.
Okay.
So, I just hope everybody will keep sticking to it. It has a lot to do with, I think Amiga is the only place in the community we talk more about philosophy and the idea of IT than the product itself.
Good, and this is the, I think, optimistic way. Okay.
I don't want my children to just grow up in a pure commercial world. Like I see in the magazines all the Amigans who meet up and fix all Amigas. Doesn't matter if it's in France, if it's in Germany or the UK. People have so much fun fixing the classic Amigas or fixing the NG Amigas when someone comes completely new back to the Amiga, and it's just amazing, this community, and everybody who's a VIP in the Amiga arena says it's amazing to see the communities at all these events in Essen, in the US, in Neuss, in Amsterdam. And there was even one event in the UK, and everybody just says it's amazing.
Yeah,
it's
heard the same.
It's so great to be part of it. Yeah,
I heard the same from RJ, that the community is he's so impressed, and I think what we can say, the Hyperion Aeon should use this community, because this is the only way to do it, and we can see in near future, I hope, what can be done and what we achieved.
Oh, by the way, I just got the prize from Thomas Rieden, if you should make Firefox for the Amiga. He says it's €40 an hour. That's what he would take for making Firefox for the Amiga.
The question is
so
how much how much hours you need to do it, yeah?
Exactly. Well, yeah. So that's one offer I got just now. So let's see what the others will say. But yeah, sounds to me like fair price.
Yeah, that's good. Okay, I think we can say goodbye, and
Sure.
we'll see. Maybe we'll make another episode in half year to see what is changed or not.
Yeah, maybe maybe through my company I will sponsor you, put the banner on your website, and make a short clip for advertisement. So yeah,
no problem. Okay.
Then you can tell your friends who laugh at you. You say, "Oh, I'm making podcasts about Amiga and making money with it."
Yeah, at the end of all, we need something like this in community that developers start to make the money with this, because it will, like you said, it bring the speed of developing. And
Exactly.
Okay, good. So to finish, I will say goodbye and thank you.
Thank you too. Take care. Bye.
Bye-bye.
It was AMIcast, podcast for all Amiga users.